The story of the Spanish Armada is one of ambition, conflict, and a turning point in the struggle for dominance over Europe and the seas. In the late 16th century, Europe was a continent divided by religion, power struggles, and shifting alliances. The Catholic Habsburg dynasty ruled Spain, wielding immense power across Europe and the Americas, while England, under the Protestant Queen Elizabeth I, was emerging as a formidable naval power. The tension between these two nations escalated due to religious differences, economic rivalry, and England's support for Dutch rebels fighting against Spanish rule. Against this backdrop, the Spanish Armada was conceived as a grand naval expedition aimed at invading England. Overthrowing Elizabeth and reasserting Catholic dominance, King Philip II of Spain, driven by his deep Catholic faith and desire to restore Catholicism in England, orchestrated the assembling of the Armada in 1588. The fleet consisted of around 130 ships, carrying approximately 30,000 men, including soldiers, sailors, and nobles. It was one of the largest and most powerful fleets ever assembled at the time, intended not only to conquer England but also to deter other European rivals. The ships were a mix of galleons, galleasses, and supply vessels, each playing a strategic role in the mission. However, the Armada faced challenges from the start. Logistics, weather, and communication issues complicated coordination between the Spanish fleet and their army stationed in the Netherlands. Waiting to join forces for the invasion, the English Navy, though smaller and less heavily armed, had significant advantages in speed, maneuverability, and tactics. Led by seasoned commanders such as Sir Francis Drake and Lord Charles Howard, the English fleet was ready to defend their shores. They employed new naval strategies that emphasized faster, more agile ships capable of long-range cannon fire, disrupting the tight formations favored by the Spanish. The English also had the advantage of home waters, with knowledge of local tides, winds, and coastlines. The confrontation began in the English Channel, where the Spanish Armada sailed northward, aiming to meet the Duke of Parma's army. The English fleet engaged the Armada in a series of skirmishes, using fire ships to break the Spanish formation and force them into disarray. The night attack with fire ships was a critical moment, causing panic and forcing the Spanish fleet to scatter. Following this, the English pursued the fleeing Spanish vessels along the coast of England and Scotland, inflicting continuous damage. Despite heavy losses and damaged ships, the Spanish tried to regroup and head northward around Scotland and Ireland to return home. The journey back proved disastrous for the Spanish. The Armada encountered violent storms in the North Atlantic, which battered the already weakened fleet. Many ships were wrecked on the rocky coasts of Ireland and Scotland, with thousands of sailors perishing. The combination of English naval harassment and the brutal weather decimated the once mighty fleet. Only about half of the Armada managed to return to Spain, a defeat that shocked Philip II and shifted the balance of naval power in Europe. The defeat of the Spanish Armada had profound consequences. It marked the beginning of the decline of Spanish naval supremacy and the rise of England as a global maritime power. England's victory emboldened its expansionist ambitions, leading to the establishment of colonies and dominance over sea trade routes in the centuries to come. The event also had significant religious implications, strengthening Protestantism in England and dampening Catholic hopes of reclaiming the country. Moreover, the Spanish Armada influenced naval warfare and ship design for generations. The encounter showcased the effectiveness of smaller, faster ships with superior artillery over larger, cumbersome vessels. The importance of maneuverability and tactical innovation became clear, changing how navies prepared for future conflicts. The Armada also highlighted the critical role of weather and logistics in naval operations, lessons that military strategists would study extensively. In Spain, the loss was a national trauma but did not end the country's power overnight. Philip II continued to invest in his empire, but the resources and morale were severely affected. The failure also exposed vulnerabilities in Spain's vast empire, contributing to challenges in maintaining control over distant territories. Over time, other European powers such as France, the Netherlands, and England capitalized on Spain's weakening grip, reshaping the political landscape of Europe. The story of the Spanish Armada remains a compelling chapter in history, symbolizing the clash between two powerful empires and the forces that shape the destiny of nations. It embodies themes of ambition, courage, and resilience, as well as the unpredictable nature of warfare and fate. The Armada's legacy is still studied in military academies and remembered in literature and popular culture as a defining moment of the Age of Sail and European history. At its core, the Spanish Armada was more than a naval expedition, it was a manifestation of the complex interplay between religion, politics, and power during a transformative era. The ambitions of Philip II, the defiance of Elizabeth I, and the bravery of countless sailors and soldiers illustrate the human dimension behind grand historical events. Their stories, sacrifices, and strategies continue to inspire and inform our understanding of leadership, conflict, and the enduring struggle for supremacy on the world stage. The Armada's voyage and its ultimate fate were shaped by many factors beyond pure military might. Communication delays between the Spanish fleet and the army in the Netherlands meant coordination was imperfect from the beginning. The choice of route exposed the fleet to the treacherous waters of the North Atlantic during the return journey. The English naval commander's ability to exploit these weaknesses showcased the rising importance of intelligence, reconnaissance, and flexible tactics. In addition to military and political impacts, the defeat had cultural reverberations. English nationalism surged, fueled by the narrative of divine favor and national unity against a powerful foe. Literary works of the time celebrated the victory, contributing to the mythos surrounding Elizabeth I's reign as the Virgin Queen who protected her nation. This period also saw the strengthening of the Royal Navy as a permanent force, setting the foundation for Britain's later imperial dominance. From the Spanish perspective, the Armada was a costly gamble intended to reverse the tide of Protestant ascendancy and restore Catholic hegemony. The religious zeal driving the campaign reflected broader European conflicts of the era, including the 30 Years' War that would follow in the next century. The failure underscored the limitations of absolute monarchies in managing complex international conflicts and foreshadowed shifts toward more modern forms of warfare and diplomacy. Technological advancements also played a critical role. The English ships' lighter construction and heavier, longer-range cannons outmatched the slower, more heavily armored Spanish galleons. This evolution in naval technology favored agility and firepower over sheer size and brute force. The battle demonstrated the transitional nature of naval warfare, bridging medieval tactics with emerging early modern strategies. The logistical feat of assembling the Armada itself was monumental. Ships, weapons, provisions, and men were gathered from across Spain and its empire, involving extensive planning and resource allocation. Despite this, supply shortages and delays plagued the fleet. Maintaining morale and discipline over such a large force on the sea was a constant challenge, compounded by unfamiliar waters and harsh weather conditions. The human stories within the Armada's tale add depth to the grand historical narrative. Sailors faced grueling conditions, from cramped quarters and disease to the constant threat of battle and storms. Commanders had to balance orders from the distant Spanish crown with the realities they encountered. The fear, hope, and uncertainty experienced by those on board resonate with anyone who has faced adversity and the unknown. In the wider context of European history, the Spanish Armada's defeat marked a shift in the balance of power that would define the coming centuries. England's naval ascendancy paved the way for global exploration, trade, and colonization. Spain's retreat signaled the end of its unchallenged dominance, encouraging other nations to contest the seas and shape the modern world. The lessons from the Armada endure in military strategy and leadership studies. It emphasizes the importance of flexibility, understanding terrain and environment, and the interplay between technology and tactics. It also highlights how political, religious, and cultural factors influence military campaigns, making warfare not just a contest of arms but of ideas and will. The Spanish Armada is remembered not just for its dramatic defeat but for what it represents, a pivotal moment when a rising power challenged an established empire, changing the course of history. It stands as a testament to the complexities of empire building, the unpredictability of warfare, and the enduring spirit of those who shape their destinies amidst the tides of change. If we look beyond the battle itself, the Armada also had economic consequences. The vast expenditure strained Spain's treasury, contributing to financial difficulties that plagued the empire. England, meanwhile, capitalized economically by expanding maritime trade and privateering, increasing its wealth and influence. The conflict spurred innovations in shipbuilding and navigation that would propel European powers into a new age of global interaction. Environmental factors, often overlooked in historical analysis, played a crucial role. The weather in the English Channel and North Atlantic was a natural ally for the English, disrupting Spanish formations and causing shipwrecks. This unpredictability of nature reminds us that human ambitions are often at the mercy of forces beyond control. Shaping outcomes in unforeseen ways, the Armada's legacy is also preserved in the numerous artifacts, documents, and chronicles that survive today. These provide rich sources for historians to reconstruct events, understand the experiences of those involved, and appreciate the broader implications. Museums and historical sites continue to educate the public, keeping the memory of this monumental episode alive. Culturally, the story of the Armada has inspired countless works of art, literature, and film. It symbolizes the eternal themes of heroism, national identity, and the struggle between opposing ideologies. The enduring fascination with this event reflects its significance not only as a military encounter but as a defining moment in the shaping of modern Europe. As we reflect on the Spanish Armada, we see a narrative that transcends time, reminding us that history is shaped by the confluence of ambition, faith, innovation, and the human will to prevail. It is a story of how a single fleet, though ultimately defeated, left an indelible mark on the world and influenced the destiny of nations for centuries to come. The Spanish Armada's tale urges us to consider the complexities behind historical events, recognizing the multifaceted causes and consequences that ripple through time. It teaches us about the impermanence of power and the ever-changing nature of geopolitical landscapes. Above all, it celebrates the resilience of those who navigate uncertain waters, both literal and metaphorical, in pursuit of their vision. The return voyage of the Spanish Armada became a harrowing ordeal, marked by relentless storms and treacherous seas. After being battered by the English fleet in the Channel, the Armada attempted to sail north around Scotland and then south past Ireland to reach Spain. However, the North Atlantic's infamous weather proved to be a merciless enemy. Many ships foundered on the rocky coasts or were dashed against cliffs, while others were blown far off course. The loss of ships was not just due to battle but also to nature's fury, highlighting how environmental factors can be as deadly as human conflict. Among the survivors, there were tales of heroism and despair. Sailors fought to keep their vessels afloat, officers struggled to maintain order amid chaos, and many endured hunger, cold, and disease. The cultural shock for Irish coastal communities, who encountered these desperate Spanish survivors, was significant. Some were helped, while others met with suspicion or hostility. Reflecting the complex political and religious divisions of the time, the wrecks left a lasting imprint on local folklore and history. The aftermath of the Armada's failure reverberated across Europe. In England, celebrations erupted as news of the victory spread, reinforcing Queen Elizabeth's authority and the Protestant cause. This triumph bolstered national pride and was immortalized in speeches, poems, and songs. The event strengthened the resolve of English sailors and politicians to build a powerful navy that could protect their interests and expand their influence overseas. Spain faced a period of introspection and recovery. Philip II's dream of reclaiming England and halting Protestantism was dashed, leading to shifts in strategy and policy. While Spain remained a dominant power, the defeat exposed the limitations of its military and administrative systems. The empire's vastness became a liability, with stretched resources and internal challenges undermining its ability to respond effectively to multiple fronts. The Spanish Armada also accelerated changes in naval warfare. The era of massive armadas with slow, heavily armed ships gave way to fleets composed of faster, more versatile vessels. Naval commanders prioritized speed, maneuverability, and gunnery over brute force. These innovations laid the groundwork for modern naval tactics and were adopted by emerging naval powers, especially England, which transformed itself into a dominant sea force in the following centuries. Diplomatically, the Armada's defeat shifted alliances and encouraged other European states to challenge Spain's supremacy. The Dutch revolt gained momentum, supported covertly by England, while France navigated its own complex position between religious factions and imperial ambitions. The balance of power in Europe became more fluid, setting the stage for further conflicts and the eventual rise of new empires. Religiously, the Armada was part of the broader Catholic-Protestant struggle defining 16th-century Europe. Its failure was a blow to the Counter-Reformation efforts and a victory for Protestant resilience. England's continued Protestant identity shaped its internal policies and external relations, influencing centuries of religious and political developments. The cultural legacy of the Spanish Armada is rich and enduring. Its story is retold as a classic tale of David versus Goliath, where a smaller, determined force overcame a seemingly invincible empire. The Armada has inspired countless artistic representations, from paintings to literature and film, capturing the drama, tragedy, and heroism of the event. It serves as a symbol of national identity, resilience, and the shifting tides of history. In examining the Armada, historians also reflect on leadership and decision-making. Philip II's reliance on traditional methods clashed with the need for innovation and flexibility. English commanders demonstrated adaptability and courage, capitalizing on weaknesses and employing unconventional tactics. These lessons resonate in leadership studies across disciplines today. The Spanish Armada's impact extends beyond Europe. It influenced the course of global exploration and colonization. England's naval success opened pathways to the New World, Asia, and Africa, where it established colonies and trade networks that would shape the modern world. Spain's decline allowed other powers to contest the seas, leading to an age of competition and empire building that defined the early modern period. The human element of the Armada's story is compelling. The lives of the sailors, soldiers, and commanders involved reflect the harsh realities of 16th-century warfare and seafaring. Their courage, hardships, and fates remind us of the personal costs behind grand historical narratives. These individual stories add depth and nuance to our understanding of the event. Environmental considerations remain a poignant aspect of the Armada's history. The storms that devastated the fleet demonstrate the power of nature in human affairs. Navigators' knowledge of weather patterns, tides, and geography was crucial but limited by the era's technology. This interplay between human ambition and natural forces continues to be relevant in discussions of exploration, conflict, and survival. Technological change was both a cause and effect of the Armada's campaign. The development of more effective artillery, shipbuilding techniques, and navigation instruments was essential for naval power. The Armada highlighted the need for continuous innovation to maintain military superiority, a principle that echoes throughout military history. Economically, the Armada represented a massive investment with high stakes. Spain committed enormous resources, reflecting its wealth and imperial reach but also exposing its vulnerabilities. The defeat strained finances and disrupted trade, while England's victory spurred economic growth and maritime enterprise. The Spanish Armada's legacy is complex, marked by both tragedy and triumph, failure and inspiration. It symbolizes a pivotal moment when history's currents shifted, affecting nations, cultures, and the global balance of power. Its lessons in leadership, technology, environment, and human endurance continue to resonate. As we remember the Spanish Armada, we honor the multifaceted nature of history, its grand strategies and personal stories, its predictable plans and unforeseen turns. The Armada's voyage across the seas remains a testament to the enduring human spirit, the quest for power, and the unpredictable dance between ambition and fate. This historic encounter serves as a reminder that no empire is invincible, no plan infallible, and that the seas, ever unpredictable, hold the power to shape destinies. The Spanish Armada's story is not just one of ships and battles but of the relentless drive of nations to chart their course in the vast ocean of history.